Hello, good afternoon, everyone. You're welcome to another workshop of the Fashionomics Online Accelerator Program. Please, while you settle in, we'll be starting in the next 1 minute. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Olagunjo Molabaki, and I'm a Senior Program Associate with the Creative Economic Practice at CC Hub, and I'm based at the Lagos office. You're welcome to today's Online Fashionomics Accelerator Program, and today's topic we're going to be examining branding and storytelling. Kindly note that translations are available in English, French, Portuguese, and Arabic. We request that you look for the round interpretation icon at the bottom of the screen to select your preferred language. This session is going to last for 1 hour, 30 minutes, and the overview of today's session is going to be around defining your brand message, leveraging storytelling to scale your business, how to leverage digital media to access new markets. Welcome once again, and while you wait, check your sound and camera. Please turn on your camera if you can, and also include in the chat box what you are looking to get out of today's session. Before I introduce today's facilitator, I want to go through our ground rules again. Switch on your camera if you can. Use the chat box to ask questions. Please also note that we're going to be using the major communication channel in the chat box. You will not be allowed to unmute your microphones, and please ensure that you adhere to this instruction. So if you have any comments or you have any questions, please endeavor to use the chat box. Participate actively. We encourage that you participate actively at every time. Give space for others to participate, and please ensure that your Zoom name matches your registration name. This is for the purpose of taking attendance. Attendance will be taken anytime during the session. Again, we ensure that your Zoom name matches your registration name so that you will not be marked absent. All right, so I'll be introducing to us our facilitator for today. Our facilitator today, we have the honor of having Busola Dakolo, the communications lead at CC Hub. Busola Dakolo is a seasoned communication strategist with over 8 years of experience as a brand influencer, creative director, and brand photographer for a variety of brands in various industries, including the fashion industry. As a speaker, Busola Dakolo is passionate about sharing her insights and knowledge with others. She has been a featured speaker at numerous industry events, sharing her expertise on topics such as brand messaging, photography, and personal branding. Her current role as the head of communications at Co-Creation Hub, Busola Dakolo leads a team of communication professionals who are dedicated to helping the company communicate with a variety of external and internal audiences. Busola Dakolo holds a master's degree in international business from Yoruba University and a member of several professional organizations, including the Chartered Institute for IT. In her free time, she enjoys creating content and taking photos. Audience can expect an engaging and informative presentation from Busola as she shares practical approach to effective branding and storytelling for building strong relationships with stakeholders. Without further ado, I present to you our esteemed facilitator for today, Busola Dakolo. Hi, Busola, nice to have you on the spot today.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I hope everyone can hear me. If you can hear me, just say hi. Just type hi in the chats engine. Oh, thank you. Thank you for responding. Thank you. So now I know I'm communicating with people. Lovely. Lovely. Okay, so I guess we have quite a lot of time to actually delve into this lovely and amazing topic. It's about brand and storytelling. But before we go into the context of today, let's, I guess we've done the ground rules already, so I can proceed, right?
Yes, you can.
Okay, thank you. So most importantly, brand. I think that's one of the words that you mostly just see everywhere, brand. You might actually feel you don't have a brand, whether you acknowledge it or not. you have a brand. So whether it's your business or your personal self, there's a brand you're selling. So here we'll be talking about sell your brand. There's a straightforward guide for businesses looking to build efficient audience and customer engagement systems through communications and brand storytelling. Brand storytelling is key now. We all know the way media has evolved. It has introduced this new sense of messaging, this new sense of communicating with your social media audiences or your internal audiences in such an interesting way. So branding and the way you communicate your brand message is now more interesting than how it used to be. I'm sure we've come across different interfaces on all the communication channels, and we notice the approach to which they tell their stories is evolving. And that's why we're actually here to learn certain things that will help you to move your brand forward, and specifically looking at the aspect of fashion industry. So what will you be learning today? You'll be learning how to define your brand message, how to set brand visions, mission, and value statements. Then also leverage storytelling to scale your business and also to create that connection between you and your audiences. I'll also be sharing about advertising media mix as an effective audience engagement technique. How to decide on the social media channels to use for your business, because they're quite enormous. So you need to actually know which one to strategize on, which one to the priority list for your social media handles. It's really, really key. How to leverage digital media to access new markets. Remember, the world is now global. The world is a global village now. So how can you leverage digital markets to enable you to access new markets? If you have any questions, it would be good if you can put in the chat engine. From time to time, I'll be asking the host to tell me feedback on questions that are in the chat engine. So permits me to talk like a robot from now on. Okay. So let's move to how can you define your key message as a brand? I would like to say, first of all, you have a brand, whether you identify it or not. I don't know if you have already started your business, it's fine. If you haven't started your business, it's okay. We will meet at a point here. You can craft your brand message, whether you haven't been crafting it before, you can craft it now. What branding helps you to do? Branding involves a strong positioning of your business by shaping the perception. You are the determinant factor here. You are the one shaping the perception of your business through your key message. And that is why the key message should be very strategically crafted, and it's very significant to build on your brand efforts. Then there's a link there. I don't know, it leads, but I don't know whether it's clickable, but it's just basically about how you connect with your audiences based on the way you portray your messages. So first of all, I'm sure as we delve into the presentation, you'll get to know more about how to break down your brand messaging and also the other elements that are applicable. But the keynote here, it is very important to have a brand message. Have a key message for your brand. Let's take, for instance, you are into fashion. Most of us are into fashion here, I presume. And your brand message is, your brand actually stands for something in terms of sustainable. Your clothing line has that sustainability approach. The clothing, the materials you use, they're recyclable materials. There's a message that you can craft from that. So most of the time, I like to be very practical. So most of the time, your brand message could reflect your history. It could reflect why you're doing what you're doing. It's very broad. Please, can we proceed? So your brand key messages include your business values. Like I said, business values, it includes, maybe for instance, now in the context of the sustainable clothing that I mentioned, sustainability would be one of the business values for that venture. So your brand key messages include your business values, goals, and ethics. From there, you'll be able to identify who your clothing line would be for. You'll be able to identify who your target audience is. You'll be able to identify that because your key messaging helps you to have that sense of clarity as to who am I interacting with and what am I informing them and why am I even informing them. So number one, identify your target audience. In every brand building and brand storytelling, you need to always identify your target audience. You can imagine how many of us, just imagine having the whole world right in front of you. The whole world, we're all distributed into different demographics. You need to know, am I targeting this specific age group? Am I targeting this specific sex? You have to identify your target audience. And even aside the age groups, there are different parameters that would help you to break down your target audience to be able to know the specific niche to which your brand is servicing. Then we move on to observe market trends, especially from your competitors. Really, there's nothing that we want to do right now that's not like there's someone not already doing it. You can either quickly build on what someone is doing, learn from what others are already doing in your industry. So that is why it's really important to observe market trends, especially from your competitors. You have to know who are the people that will be, which businesses am I competing with? Whether in your region, if you want to scale up based on where you're scaling up to, your competitors will begin to expand. So you have to take note of that. From observing market trends, you have to take note of how they're doing what they're doing. Then from there, I'm sure you'll be able to observe gaps in terms of, oh, my own approach would be this. The language, the tone of my brand will be like this, because you can either deploy a strategy of blue ocean, meaning I just want to stand out. You have your own strategy in place, which is very, very key. The competitors will always be there, but it's good to observe the market trends. Then specify your value proposition. What's your value proposition? What are you saying your audiences will benefit from? What are you saying your target audience? See, I've got this. No other people or no other competitor has this. I am the one that you need to get for this. Your value proposition in the context of the sustainable clothing. My value proposition would be, oh, we are making the world, we are adding to the green economy. We are making the world, we are reducing the carbon footprints. You are adding. So people that have values tilted to that, people that are mindful of keeping the planet safe, they are mindful of climate change, they would want to be a part of your brand. They would want to patronize your brand. So that is why specifying your value proposition is really key. Very, very important. Define the words, phrases, or terms that will be used to communicate your values. Like I said, there will be those keywords. If, for instance, if it's targeted to people in the fitness industry, maybe your brand, you're specifically looking at perspiration. You want to look at how the clothing absorbs sweats, you have to look at keywords that they're like, I call them punchy. Like it's like a big punch on the face of, not like you're blowing their faces, but it just comes to them. It just makes them to know, oh yes, this brand is solving this problem for me. This is really a big problem. So that is why it's very important to have the words, the phrases, and the terms that you will be using to communicate your values. Define the tone of voice that will be used to transmit your values to the public. Would you be very fun? Would you be very formal? Or you just want that semi-formal approach? Would you, so it's really interesting how you can decide on how you want your brand to be perceived, all from the onset, or even at any phase, because we go through brand refresh. So it doesn't matter whether you have your venture already, you can always redefine the tone of your voice. But most of the time, you define the tone of your voice studying your audience. You want to study, you want to know what appeals to them. So there's quite a lot of research analysis and studying market trends, studying your competitors that needs to come to play here. We can move it further. Thank you. So here, how to set your brand visions, brand vision, mission, and value statements. I know it's really huge. All the time we talk about mission, vision, value statement. Why is this even important? When you're talking about mission, you need to first of all know what is the purpose. Why is my brand existing in the first place? What is our goal? What are we hoping? Who are we serving? You have to define, put all that in writing. How are we going to define? I'm talking about the mission statement here. You're writing, it's about your company purpose. It's about your reason for existence. Reason, you have to write it out. It includes, who am I serving? You state it out. How are we going to do it? All that is encapsulated in your mission. Then when we progress to your vision outlines your company's long term. It doesn't matter, maybe right now you're just starting from Ghana or you're starting from Kenya, for instance. Maybe your vision is to expand to the whole of African region, your vision. You have to have that written, because that will also guide your approach to how you're going to scale up, and also your storytelling approach. Then you talk about your value statements, those things that your brand cannot compromise on. Your value statements, they flow with you all through the journey until you fulfill that brand vision. It goes with you. So it's from day one, no matter how it is, whether it's even at the infancy stage or it's at a growth stage, but then it can scale up. The values must always be consistent. There are times that brands always have that brand refresh and they tend to review things, but it's very good to build your value statements early enough. It becomes part of your story. If you notice, when they're talking about, let's move it a bit into personal branding, because we're familiar with biographies of people, They tell you how, for instance, Serena Williams, this person has been training from when they were small, you know. You see one key element that has been consistent with that person throughout their career and throughout the progression of their career. So value statement is really, really key. Now we move to dream big. Check out your competitors. This sort of just, we're talking about the things that we've already talked about. Check out your competitor statements to be able to know how to draft. It's good to look at what others are doing. Then you build your ideas from that based on who your own target audience are. You've studied what they study. You've studied how they interact. You've studied what moves them, what makes them to buy. You study how they flow with conversations regarding, existing products in the market. So based on that, you have that brainstorming sessions and also get individual inputs. It starts from people in your network, and it's lovely to have Fashionomics here. You have people in your community, engage them to get feedback, on this, on that, on my values, these my value statements. What do you think? Then infuse your passion, map out your potential global impact. You're not just your current state. Mostly you must have that big picture, and that big picture, you begin to map your way there now. So that's why it's really key to have it on ground. Then use the present tense. Align with your business goals and objectives. Always align things with your business goals. As we proceed in this presentation, because that also helps to craft your brand storytelling very well. Let's proceed, please. Beautiful. This is one aspect I love, storytelling. Storytelling, we hear stories every day. If you ask yourself, what makes you to buy what you just bought yesterday? Something you never planned for. There's a journey. There's a journey that brand took you through that eventually made you to decide to purchase whatever you purchased. That's the power of storytelling. Everything you put out there concerning your brand is telling a story, whether you admit it or not. But it's taking your audiences through a certain journey to either drop out of accepting your brand, or deciding to stick with your brand. So what storytelling allows you to share more than what you do. It permits you to show how you do what you do. Remember, it's not just tell anymore. You are now beginning to show them, this is how I do it. And you're showing your values. You're making it easy for people to just engage with your brand. For instance, if your brand is tied to culture, the way you tell the story around the cultural aspect of wherever you come from, it just has a way of engaging the people there, and they connect with it, they resonate with it. Even people that don't know anything about your culture would want to know more about your culture because of the way your brand has positioned culture in such a relatable, engaging way. So this is the power of storytelling. Can we move further? Then just look at this timeline and just flow with me. Some would be a recap of the things that we've already talked about. It's okay. Identify your audience and build your brand story around what they are interested in. You have to know what your audience, what are they interested in? And then craft your story around it. That's why there's a lot of observation that goes on in branding and storytelling. If you notice, social media platforms, they have insights to actually even help individuals or brands to sort of like understand how their audiences are interacting with their brands, what moves them, some things they say that moves them, you know. So for instance, now, if you have a brand already, this is just like an exercise, but you don't have to say anything. Your page right now, ask yourself one thing. The page, the platform, whatever, maybe it's your website, it's your Instagram, it's your Facebook, any social media platform that you have existing now. What do you think that platform is telling about your brand? That's basic. If someone can look at the brand and they're able to offer, they just say something. For instance, as an individual, let me use my brand, my personal brand. I don't dress in coats in the loud way. My brand, I know my brand values. I know the keywords. It's simple, yet that simple is there. I embrace simplicity, but yet stylish. So you just know those keywords, and then you've crafted, you know your values there. You now have to look at what are your audiences, what are they interested in? Look for what is my brand saying now? What part of my brand journey now? Is it how I started my brand? Is it what inspired my brand that can actually help me to engage more with my audience? You have to think about that. Then deliver valuable content that can educate, enlighten, or inspire audience. Remember, it's all about your audience, really. It's not about what you want to say, it's about what they want to hear. And then you crafting what they want to hear, crafting what you want to say based on how they want to hear it. So it's a bit tricky there. And then you begin to, first of all, you can start in the area of educating them in line with what they are interested in, show your expertise in that area, enlighten them, inspire. Also, I'll try to move faster here. Then always communicate your brand's potential on current global impact or current global impact. Communicate the milestones you've achieved. No matter how small or how subtle you feel it is very, very good, and it is applaudable. What that shows is it shows that your brand is growing, and it will make whoever is engaging with your brand to see that, oh, this brand has the potential to actually grow, and it has the potential, to scale up. It opens up people's minds to embrace your brand. Then speak about how you build your products or deliver your services. I talked about that already. Highlight customer stories to gain the trust of new and existing customers. You have to talk about the customers that have enjoyed your service. They've interacted with your brand. Encourage them to share testimonials. That building relationships is really key. It's really key at this point. Encourage them to share testimonials, share reviews, about how your current customers are enjoying your service or enjoying your products. Then share your business origin story. I think I've mentioned this already. Spotlighting your brand aspiration and goals. Talk about why did you even start what you started? Did you just start because you were walking somewhere and something happened? Did you just start because you like painting? And then, just talk about, say, it's a free world. You don't need to care will it be appealing? Will it engage? Please worry less about that and just do. Just take that move and just say it. This is how, you have to define that. Then use storytelling to cultivate your company culture, ensuring employees know these are the people that work with you. You have to use the power of your storytelling to help with that. Then nail your differentiator by constantly communicating what differentiates you in the industry. Is it what differentiates you? Is it because of one particular, there are different kinds of fashion designers that I've interacted with, and you see some, it's their play of embroidery, some specific kind of embroidery, the way they use them, that's their differentiator. You have to identify your unique selling points. That's basically it. And that's your superpower. That's where your superpower lies. And then you begin to know, how do I begin to communicate this, my differentiator, through my visuals, through every point of interaction, then share personal stories. I've told you about that, including that of the business founder. And, because your brand is not the logo. It's a personality. Your brand has a personality. So you have to be able to know that and begin to make things to be more interactive and emotional, build connection, transmit empathy and growth by sharing stories about your obstacles, falls, and learnings over time. I really want to talk about this a bit. Don't just think about everything I need to share is all about my wins, is all about the progress I've made. Sometimes share about how it was difficult to actually arrive. I think it's even more beautiful when people are sort of admiring a particular outcome, but because they don't know the fails or the pitfalls along the way, they would not really be able to appreciate that outcome. But by the time you show them the pitfalls, you show them the different failed attempts, things that happen along the journey, they will be able to identify and relate more with the brand, because it's normal. Failure is part of life, and really not doing things right is part of life. So don't put your brand as that brand that is just perfect. Everybody knows perfection is not real, really. So we are all just working towards building that sense of perfection, but let people be able to identify with how far you've come, despite all the falls, despite all the pitfalls, you were able to arrive at this outcome. It makes the story to be more interesting. Yes, so please embrace that as well. Can we move further, please? Thank you. So basically, advertising media mix as an effective audience engagement technique. This is basically to boost your business results and ensure strong customer relationships. This is all about, you have to identify all the different platforms that exist. Which platforms? Create like a priority list based on what you do. Which platform? What do you want to do with which platform? If, for instance, you want to be doing YouTube channels, you want to be doing YouTube content to push your business or your products or your services, what you can do, that could be that you want to be showing your behind the scenes there. You want to be showing what goes on, you want to be showing stories behind that people don't see. And then there's another platform that you just want to be showing the beautiful outcomes already. But then you have to look for how to link different contents, make people move from point A, lead them to point B. Because remember, the goal now is you want the audience to be stuck with you. You don't want them to leave you. So you want to be able to move them from point A, as they're on Instagram, watching this, doing this. There's something that leads them to Facebook, or it could even lead them to TikTok, or from TikTok, it leads them to another place, Maybe all what you want to be doing on TikTok is just to, trends. What makes things to trend in TikTok, especially, but not compromising your values. That's why value is really key. Value is what guides you. It guides you throughout, even your engagement on all these different platforms. It guides you throughout your content building on all these different platforms to ensure that you are not compromising on those specific values that you have stated. And what that helps, it helps to build consistency across these different platforms. And that way they will not feel like, oh, there's something off around your brand. No, they know that there's a kind of synergy. So please, you can move it further. So you have to identify which media mix am I? Do I need to be in the newspapers? Is it magazines? You know, you have to begin to look at that, and what kind of magazines? Is it the kind of regional magazines, or is it magazine because I need to scale up now, I want to go global? You begin to look at those magazines and you study the kind of contents that are there so that you can begin to build yours to sort of align with that. Then audio channels, podcasts. Do you want to talk about styling at work? Maybe, for instance, your brand has to do with, boss chic style. Your outfit blends with the modern day girl, the modern day working girl, So you have to decide, what kind of audio, what are the conversations they're interested in. So your podcast could be tilted towards that, Then you talk about the video advertising, Is it about they like to travel and then you want to infuse travels with the fashion? You must know what you're bringing in to blend in with any form of your expression, whether as a photographer or as an illustrator or as a fashion designer. There's a place for you to actually define what am I blending with what on a certain platform. Then out of home, you have billboards. Billboards are still effective, whether we like it or not, because we go out, and people just want to put your brand in people's faces. So it's if that's applicable to your brand, you do that. Then social media, of course, we know the power of social media here. So choosing the best social media channels for your business, I think I've talked about that. It can be very tempting to be active on all existing social media channels. But imagine, I know there's this saying that goes, jack of all trades, master of none. In a way, it's good to sort of, I would advise, my own opinion would be, you could actually have your business registered on different platforms. Why? Because it's like you're securing that for your business. So it's just the way, we're all knowing the power of having a domain name now, because someone else can get that domain name and then you now be there thinking, how best. So once you have that, your business name, just sort of just have your account secured across all these different platforms, then we can now think about how to differentiate our different expressions. I want to talk about expressions on all these platforms. Your expression on LinkedIn will be different from your expression on TikTok. Your expression on Instagram would be different if your expression on WhatsApp group, So you have to just choose the channels that suits your business best. We'll talk further on that, or any questions. Are there questions for me, Omolabake?
Not yet, Busola. You can carry on.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, so let's proceed, please. Oh, lovely. So, what social media channels are most effective, generally speaking, for fashion, textile, apparel, accessories in your country? Remember, the key thing in this particular question is they're all visual related. Fashion, it's interact with the eyes. Textile, I have to see these things. I have to see, it's visual. So, so what do you think? Lovely, in your country, because you understand the context of your country more than anyone. Or if you don't know, then that would be your homework. Lovely, lovely. I think I can see more coming in. More people are saying, you are seeing the power of Instagram, Facebook. What do you notice about this ones that we are all mentioning? Apart from the ability, it's to see the visuals, the power of the area for the stories. You know, that aspect that we see, that post, the story is really that aspect that you can share relatable things. You can share original things. It doesn't need to be all that well edited, well positioned. You know, the way you look at a post on Instagram, right? And you want everything to just be aligned. And also TikTok, you know, because TikTok just gives you that full expression to be able to, you know, share the intriguing stories about your brand. So you have to, I think I just saw something, WhatsApp status. I'll just hold that, grab that on this hand while I continue. Then I'm not going to let loose of this hand yet. So that story aspect, please, I want you to grab it. Like, the power of stories, it's enormous. It really makes people to connect with your brand because they feel it gives you the opportunity to just be real, just be showing the process, show how you did this, you know, make use of all those elements. So I think we all answered the questions very well. Then now let me let loose of this hand. WhatsApp status. Oh, interesting. So WhatsApp status could be that maybe you already have your existing customers. You already have them. Maybe you sort of build like a community. I think WhatsApp has something like community engagement now. And then you want to be able to be reaching out to them from time to time, just, you know, that's also good. It's also good. And of course, the WhatsApp status on your business, that's what we are talking about. But definitely for someone to come to your WhatsApp status is either they've interacted with your WhatsApp before, but that Facebook, Instagram, all those visual platforms is great. It's great to work on them. Can we move on, please? Email newsletters. Interesting. Omalabake, I think I just saw someone just put in email newsletters. That we cannot actually ignore that, because by the time maybe you have something interesting that you just introduced into what you do, it's great to communicate that, but then don't make it too wordy. You understand? Make it maybe, you know, the captions are really punchy and, you know, it just gets into the face. Like, now you have to know what to think about me right now. I told you something about my brand now. I embrace simplicity in my fashion, yet classy and stylish. And then you have to think of how to interact. Maybe your brand speaks to someone like me. You have to think of something that you say to me in the email newsletter that is going to just grab my attention. You understand? Yes. So we move on to set your social media goals. It's extremely important because there are so many things that you'll be picking here and there, but you have to set your social media goals from the onset. Evaluate the channels and your target audience usage from time to time. Continue to evaluate it so you know where to improve, you know what they're interested in now, you know trends, you know, and right now there's a blend of music and fashion. The power of music and fashion is huge. So you have to know what's trending sort of in the entertainment and especially in the music industry, and use that to push your fashion brand, or to push your brand forward as well. So research the social media channels your competitors used. We already talked about that. Consider all the resources at your disposal. I believe nothing should just be pushed away. There's always something to learn. As long as you understand the space that your brand fits into, look at what others are doing very well. And it could just be that element of one aspect that they're just leaving out, or one aspect that everyone is not really emphasizing on. Just pick that aspect and fly with it. Don't try to do everything. Try to consider things well and pick something that can help with that, your value proposition in terms of your unique selling points. Can you give me a thumbs up if we're flowing, if you're flowing? Can you give me a thumbs up? Just thumb up. Thumbs up, please. I'm waiting. Thank you. Thank you, Boluwatife. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, Olayemi. Thank you, Balogun. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Samira. Thank you. Thank you, Victorian. Love you all. Amazing, amazing. Yes. So how you can leverage digital media to access new markets, to boost your business results and ensure customer relationships, engage with your audience across the full range of platforms and channels they use. You have to identify where they love to go to now. There's Google Analytics that can actually help in different forms. A lot of analytical tools to help you to know where do they tend to go to. Maybe yours is in the aspect of accessories. You know, you have to sort of just identify where they function in first now, where the huge market is, then move in there. Then slowly you can begin to now think of how to differentiate yourself. Maybe you even want to penetrate a new media market, a new digital media market that no one else has. You just have to strategize. And sorry, I just want to leave this here. Don't be afraid to explore opportunities. Don't be afraid. Really, just do it. I think that's one of the taglines I like. I'm sure we're going to talk about tagline as well for your business, for your brand. Just do it. I love it so much, you know. Okay, so please, let's move on to the next slide. Have a social media strategy. Of course. So this blue comment's key. The key aspect is don't forget PR and storytelling that help you manage the reputation of your business digitally. In crafting every story, you have to know which one helps to build the reputation of your business and work towards that. That's why your values right from the onset is really key. It helps you to know what to say, how to say it, areas not to go to, and you know, these are the areas that I can flow with. I can delve into lifestyle. I can blend it with travels. I can blend it even with cuisine, you know. I can, you know, you just define all that from the onset. Have a social media strategy. Build, it could start from 3 months. It's better if you can start with, have a 3-month social media strategy. For your 1-year calendar, we've already passed first 3 months. You can have this 3 months social media strategy that helps you. You know where you're at currently, and you know where you want to be. Maybe your focus right now is you just want more people to know about your brand. You are that face that you just need the awareness. Remember, awareness is not purchasing, but awareness is part of the journey. It's part of the journey that builds that engagement. They have to know your brand in the first place. So maybe that's where you're at, that you want to build your awareness. You identify that. Then the next thing is you want to be able to get people to act, to, you know, to begin to do something, interact with your brand, maybe to just even go to the next page. They come across your website. You want them to be able to flip to the next page. You have to know how every point of your social media or every point of your media interaction leads to an actionable guide for your audience, because there's a story that places telling them, and then it leads them to another place. You know how you get to a page? And first of all, because of the visual placement of different elements of that brand, it makes you to feel like, wow, such a warm tone, because that business has just embraced warm tone as their, maybe their color palettes, or, you know, part of their brand colors. And then, you know, it just makes someone feel so warm, and then they want to continue. Or your brand is the type, you must just have a strategy. Do you want to be flowing with the seasons? But remember your region. Don't flow with seasons, talking about seasons that is not applicable to where your brand is selling. It's really, really key. Except your brand is now, you have that network already, or you have that capacity, yes, that's the right word, to be able to reach out to send your products anywhere, then you can definitely speak the global language. But it's very important to know the language that you'll be communicating in your social media strategy. Explore paid digital advertising. It's really key. Even people that have millions of followers, they do that. So exploit. It's just like there are billions of people on earth, and you just want more people to know about what you do. That's all. As long as you have something that you know is going to interest these people, explore paid. And definitely you're not just paying and then sending. You're targeting your key audience. You're targeting people that you know, identify that you have something to offer. Your brand aligns with something that they do. Your brand aligns with what they embrace. It aligns with their interests. Explore advertising to those people on the digital platforms. Then implement local SEO, search engine. When people search based, that's why I said you have to know those keywords, those key messages, those words and phrases. But you will not know them if you don't check analytics. Check, for instance, let's be more practical here. When people are looking for maybe accessories in a specific area, or they're looking for fashion photographers, what are the keywords that will always come to play? See, the keywords that you have can be as many as possible. Just search and then check priority based on last month's, which ones were the most searched for. You know, all these things just helps you to work smartly and not necessarily just doing everything. Then you know what you're putting your effort into, and you can measure how it has actually translated into an outcome that you'll be proud of. So implement local SEO, then start blogging. It connects to blogging. If you want that, you must blogging, think about areas that your services interact with and blog in that aspect, then lead it to your service, lead it to your products. You know how you're telling people about a particular solution, and then you found a way to introduce what you do and to say, this is where we come in. You know, it's extremely important. Then set up analytics. I've talked about that. Implement a connected customer experience. Chat box. Your comments. Know how to reply to people. Know how to also respond to messages. You know, you can't be on the platform and then you say, I don't respond to DMs. So why did you come on the platform in the first place? Or you could actually specify in your profile more like, you can even give our responses, we give response within so number of hours. So your audience, they don't feel left out. Maybe they've waited 24 hours, but because you've left the notes there saying within maybe 48 hours. If it passes 24 hours, in the person's mind will be like, oh, I still have more 24 hours. They can respond within this 24 hours. So sort of give a timeline to guide your audiences, just to show that I'm with you. I haven't left you behind, you know. I'm part of this. I'm engaging you. Yes, go on. So good stories surprise us. They make us think and feel. They stick in our minds and help us remember ideas, concepts in a way that a PowerPoint crammed with can never do. Bar graphs can never do it. You know, why do you think in the fashion industry now, photography and anything video is just like they've married each other? And I think they're on that engagement, they're on that, that marriage cannot be, you can't get yourself divorced from that marriage, because you just must know how to craft that story, that good story that will make people to want to engage with your brand. So you can actually check out these case studies of various fashion businesses that have built their brands over time, and just study sort of how did they do it. You know, the beautiful thing about this industry, you can learn across regions. It's not only tied to people in your region that you can learn from. You can learn from all across the world. So please, in your spare time, ensure to go through these case studies and study how fashion businesses. And another thing that I also want to add, ensure you're following major fashion blogs, or fashion, what do they call them? Apart from blogs, there are all those fashion platforms that they're always, all those platforms always telling people about best practices, what's happening, because you need to know what's currently happening in your industry. It's extremely important to know. Yes, so get yourself conversant with that. Omolabake, please continue. Exactly. Someone mentioned fashion trend forecasts. Yes, so it's very good. Thank you, Diva, for that. Go ahead, please, Omolabake. I want to click on
that's the last slide.
Okay, that's the last one. Oh, beautiful. So please ensure that you look at the different case studies, and are there questions? Ask me questions. You know, branding and storytelling is so versatile, but embrace authenticity. That's one key word. Be authentic. Be authentic. You don't want to build based on what is not. Be authentic with your brand. Please, I would like to throw in the floor to people who have questions. The floor is open to people that have questions. The Molabake, will they send in questions via chat?
Yes, they will. There's a question from Sonia Kumi. She said that, what if you have made an initial call to action on a potential client, but they gave time to think about it? How and when do you follow up on a call?
Okay, they've given time that they are going to respond to you, or can you explain it well?
Okay, she says that she received probably from a client and a call to action from a client, and the client says that they were going to think about it after the call to action. So how and when should they go ahead to do a follow-up?
I know that they think about it. That's too ambiguous, and it leaves you don't know what next am I going to do. This think about it. I think that's where your communications now come in. You could just pick one aspect. I don't know, maybe let's be practical here. Maybe you just put up a product here or something, and then the customer tells you, oh, I'll think about this. You just reach out. Don't say, I would like to follow up. No, come up with something like, oh, there's this interesting Bring out like you've brought up, there's an opportunity for something, or there's something interesting that is currently happening now, and you think it's, you don't want her to miss it. That, and then give the period that this is between now and this. This is the opportunity for you to get this. Maybe it's for a product. I'm not getting the best context to put it, but what I'm trying to craft here is to know how best to communicate. Don't let it be, you're not begging anyone. You're proud of what you sell. You're proud of what your brand stands for. And what you're saying is, we have something that we know will benefit you. It will interest you. It will add this to your closet or whatever. It will help you to stand out in that room, you know. Or maybe you just want to talk about, on your next engagement, we have interesting outfits that could make you stand out in your next speaking engagements. Do you know, if you said that to someone that you know always goes for speaking engagements, the person would take it personal, like, wow, I think they studied my brand. So in a way, you have to do that background work to sort of know how best the key words or phrases to put in your messaging that would draw in the audience. Yes.
Thank you very much, Busola. We have a question from Buleben Kosi. He or she says, how can I link my personal brand story to my business story?
Wow, that's an interesting question. First of all, you have to understand that once you tie your personal brand to your business brand, then your personal brand, you cannot go off. Because what that does is, any effect, any flaw, or anything that is perceived wrongly about your personal brand will automatically have impact on your business brand. So if you're going to decide that you want to link your personal brand to your business brand, you have to know that you're ready to make your personal brand to be extremely professional, to be able to blend and align with what your business brand stands for. So you have to ask yourself that question. It's possible. It's possible. You have so many people, especially, you know, SMEs, you want to be able to use your personal brand. Maybe, for instance, you feel that you even have the brand that can push your business brand forward, but you must just have that at the back of your mind, that I will not jeopardize my business brand with any other shortcomings that my personal brand might actually bring out. So that is extremely important. I think you just need to ask yourself that question. I wouldn't want to say no, separate, though it feels right to say, let your business brand really just be the business brand. And in every way, from time to time, you can come in and just, you know, I know people that actually, I know people that actually have fashion brands that are now global, but their faces are not behind. Nobody even knows that they are the fashion designers behind the brand. They've built the brand in such a way that the brand can stand on its own. It can just stand on its own without their faces. The brand feels like it's an American brand. It's not an American brand. It's actually owned by a Nigerian, by an African, but no one knows. Just because the way right from onset, I don't want that. So it depends on the questions that you want to ask yourself, because you have to think about cultures, think about biases, think about, you know, different things, and then define how you want to do it. Yes,
Thank-
please. I hope I
thank
answered
you.
that question well. Please, the person, give me a thumbs up if that question was answered.
Thank you very much, Usola. So we have a question from Gift, and she says that how does one maintain authenticity when using AI tools to build a story?
AI tools. That's the that's the intriguing thing. I like this question because AI already just shows that there's an element of artificial in it, right? And we are saying, I think the authenticity here will be the story you tell with the AI. How authentic are the stories that you tell with AI? Or are you using AI as a tool to show possibilities of what can become or what can happen? It's just like that trend that was actually out there about someone using AI to created a fashion runway using old people. It was old people as the models, but it was with AI tools, to be able to create that. Reality, we don't have that in place. But what story did that tell us? It just told us more also that this is possible. So it's like you can create alter egos of things and use it. It's about, just think of stories that you feel that they are not damaging, because in that sense, it just also shows that, see, whether old age, people are embracing old age and, they are still confident in it. And fashion also boosts that confidence as well. So it tells that story. If you notice, think of the flip side. When you want to craft a story, think of the flip side as well. And then know how best. Just think about, oh, this narrative is great. This is the narrative we're trying to push out there. So you have to think about the narrative that storytelling is pushing out there. I hope I answered the question.
Thank you very much. Just confirm with a thumbs up if Busola answered your question satisfactorily. So we have another question from Emmanuel Atakora Mano, and he says that I have an existing brand for 5 years now, but then I have never considered some sort of record keeping and all the branding strategies you have shared with us today. Is it advisable to discard everything about my current brand or business and start all over again? Thus rebranding and restructuring my business, my brand and business all over.
Oh, lovely, lovely. No, first of all, I want to say something. You've built something over 5 years, and I will applaud you for that. For you to actually build a business for 5 years, it's a whole lot. I applaud you for that. It doesn't matter if you haven't implemented any of these things that have been mentioned. All you just need to go through is just a brand refresh. So you can make it to be like your brand is going through a refreshing time after a 5-year period. You first of all start with the journey of, let me delve into a bit of consulting for you. So you can first of all just craft that story of how your brand started like this, like that, introduce that element of that video into your brand storytelling. Then you begin to shine the light, like what's more awaits us in the coming year. That way, do you know, when I interact with that kind of brand, I'm like, it seems like they're about to introduce something new. It feels like, they are feeling alive, because every brand is being innovative now. So you're just showing your elements of being innovative to move your brand forward to another level. So you're not discarding anything that has been done. The bookkeeping aspect, you just begin to work on it now. You begin to start from, okay, this starts from this early beginning of the month. That will be our new annual year for the organization. You have definite definite things that are highlighted. You begin to develop that brand kits for your brand in terms of the colors, you know, what your brand stands for. It's a whole lot, but it starts somewhere. But everything that you have done, you have to look for how to craft that story to show that, oh, something new is about to start. Some do it to the extreme that they just delete every other thing that they've done prior to that time. I wouldn't say you should do that, really. It's about like a refreshing time and you're stepping into new waters, something like that. So it's about how you just put out that word out there, really. So you don't need to discard anything that you've done. It's part of your journey. It's part of what you've done. Yes.
Thank you very much, Busola.
Yeah, thank you.
So we have a question. The question is in French from Tauko Konat.
Oh, lovely. Please, can you read it out in French if you can? I actually like French, even though I don't know how to speak French.
Honestly, I can't read this out. I can't read this out in French. I'll just be a laughing stock. So let me just read the translated version. Do you think there are suitable people to arrange your story in order to give it an audience?
Oh, beautiful. I love this question. Of course, Billy, your story, even though it's unique to you, there's something similar with another person's story. That's where that relatable aspect comes in. So that's where you can actually look for, maybe you want an influencer or you want someone to help, yes, a brand influencer to help push your brand to the right audience. You can look for someone that has similar story, or there's an element of their story that you can actually use to push your brand. I encourage you to do that. If you know what your brand needs, you know that awareness. I think every brand continues to go through that cycle of you need awareness. You need awareness. You need awareness. How come Coca-Cola, even as known as the brand is, they continue to do advertising? They continue to advertise, They continue to do it because the flip rate is really fast. So you don't want anyone to forget your brand. So please, it's a good point. You can go ahead and do that.
Thank you very much. Okay, there's a question from Tarisagi F. I'm sorry if I did not pronounce your name correctly. Please pardon me. And the question is, what's the difference between vision and mission? Vision and mission.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I love that. I think in a small way, I wrote it somewhere that, although it wasn't on the slide, that mission is short and concise. Just make it short and concise and look at examples of mission statements of organizations currently in the fashion industry. So it's just short and concise. And what it does is it just includes what your company does, who it serves, and how you're doing what you said you do. As simple as that. That's what your mission statement is. What your company does, who you are doing it for, and how you do what you do. Then the vision is that big picture. Is that place that I'm telling you that this is our long-term place. This is here, but we are this. We are becoming this, So it's that big picture that you've now crafted into that long-term aspirations and your goals. That's your vision. That's your vision statement. That's what it outlines. But it's best you can look at similar, just Google mission statements for, the specific brands that you like, that flows with your segments of the fashion industry, and see how they crafted theirs. Because it's now very interesting the way vision and mission statements are being crafted. But just know that vision, it outlines that the company's long-term. Is long-term. It's not necessarily talking about what we do, how we do it. No, the mission takes care of that, who we are serving and how we do it. Yes. But this, the vision, it's about that long-term aspirations and your goals.
Thank you very much, Busola. So we have a question from Sarah Mume. Sarah Mume Igoho. If your brand is trying to go through a brand extension from leather goods to apparel, perfumes, etc., will you advise these are done under the existing brand or under a new brand?
Oh, beautiful. Apparel. So if you notice the your target audience, you first of all, sorry, can you say that again? Because I don't want to give a wrong answer.
Okay, the person is asking that their brand is going through a brand extension and then they want to extend to leather goods to apparel, perfume, etc. Will you advise that they do this will you advise that they do this under an existing brand or under a new brand?
It's you don't want to sort of confuse your brand, your audiences, right? You can maintain the key name. Maybe you have make your brand to just have an umbrella name, and then you know that possibly part of your vision is to continue to have all these different extensions. You can now begin to branch out those extensions, or it depends on the name that your brand is already carrying. If it's not tied to apparel alone, you know how some brand names is already limiting. I hope yours is not like that. If it doesn't have that brand name limitation of when you say it, it just automatically fits into here. Mine is not limiting, great. So what you can just do is you have that, and then you can decide to just put it as sub-brand. But I think for you right now, because it all falls under, but because it's perfumery, it's also part of that. But I think you should just go into maybe that name and then tie it into skincare, so that just in case you want to now have an extension that takes care of other aspects beyond the perfumery that you're talking about now, you can build on it. But just make sure that that name that you're crafting now out of it is not also limiting. So that's why go for a more overall name that can accommodate other expressions of your brand. So you won't have to be creating different brand extensions all the time. I hope I answered you. Please, can you give me a thumbs up if I did?
Please give her a thumbs up, Sarah Mume, if you feel that she has answered your question. We are going to take these 2 questions before we call it a day. And okay, Buleban Kosi says that does rebranding mean I am changing my story?
Oh, lovely. Thank you for that question. Anyways, no, it doesn't mean your story remains the same. Your brand story, actually, it's whether you decide to say it or you don't say it, the story remains. What we are just saying is how to share it is what we are talking about. So whether you want to rebrand can just guide how you tell the story, but not necessarily changing the content of the story. It's how you say it, the approach to it, the expressions you take to say it. I don't know because I'm not understanding the full context, this is the best form of explanation that I can say.
Thank you very much, Busola. And we'll take this last question before we call it a day today. Elsie Noilila, I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce your name correctly. And this person is saying that if she's not social media savvy and doesn't have the budget to invest on a marketing firm, can you suggest 3 digital platforms they can focus on to best help them communicate to their audience? That way they're not all over the place and they're not and their message is clear.
What do they do? If it's fashion, first of all, let's just Maybe you can just start first of all with Instagram. You're not social media savvy. It's okay. I think just come out as neutral as possible. But if you know you want to sell on a platform, maybe for instance, you can have your social media and then you can have a website, you know, a page, something that's your social media, that's your one platform, maybe Instagram, for instance, is leading people to take action to buy on your website, you know? So it's all about where are you leading them to? So just think of if your things will be on the website or everything you want to make use of social media shop to now, because you know, the way social media platforms are going now, they are really becoming very elaborate and adopting different styles. You can actually shop too on Instagram. So you can work on that. Think of whether you want to blend in with websites and Instagram, but it's visual. So I would encourage you to go for Instagram or Facebook, depending on your country. Remember, we asked you that which of these platforms do you think that is really relevant in your country?
Thank you very much, Busola. I think we can do a bonus to take one last question.
Okay.
And this question will be, Wanji, I don't know if you can help me translate from welcome Ngolo Guy. If you can help me translate that question so that we can take it, and then that'll be the last question for today. Or any of the French questions, I'll be very grateful. Okay, so I think I have the translated comment now. How can one turn Instagram followers to customers?
Okay, beautiful. That's a good question. So, you know, like I said, you're taking them through a journey. The journey of, first of all, even embracing your brand. They want to believe your brand can actually deliver on what you're saying you deliver on. Because everybody you can craft something and say, I can do this. So you have that awareness first. They have to believe in your brand and know that you're actually credible, that you deliver on that. And then from there, you have to also show that you have other value add-ons for them. That's why we talked about inspiring them, educating them. You know, that's where blogging and few tips here and there. You know how people take, for instance, how coaches or people that they sell things, they sell courses online. They first of all give you like an ebook. You can have this ebook, and from there, the ebook, you're seeing, wow, see all this I'm learning with just the ebook. Now I think I want to go further and engage this coach. So you have to give them a bit of something that they will use to believe in what your brand has to deliver. So just be giving them that tips. Maybe, for instance, you just talk about something related to what they are interested in and just show that you can engage them. From there, they will be able to, they will always want to have that conversation with you. They will always want to come to your platform. Because remember, initially, you want them to know your brand, then you want them to always want to come back to hear what you have to say. Then they will now begin to decide, what should I buy? Sometimes you'll be the one to propose it. That's why create the idea in their heads that they are missing something. Create the idea in their heads that, oh, you need this, you need that, you know. You're proposing it to them. You know their lifestyle. Then you're using that aspect of what you know to tell them that, see, I have something that is going to blend in with what you know or what you do right now. Is going to help to, it's going to add value to what you do right now already. That's just basically it. And you continue to say that, continue to say that, continue to say that, you continue, you will not stop to say that until eventually this person will just be like, okay, I think I have to try it. That's the customer journey that I think we all go through. You can just ask yourself, the last time you bought what you bought, What was your journey like in finally deciding I am going to buy that? You can use that, your own personal experience, to sort of just now craft something that will be suitable for anyone. Or you look at your audience specifically and study how they have related with your competitors and try to use that to your advantage. Yeah.
Thank you very, very much, Busola. It was such a fantastic and amazing session. I'm already seeing comments.
90 minutes.
Yes, we are close to the end of the session. I can see comments in the chat box saying that thank you to our facilitator. You have a lovely spirit. You have a very encouraging spirit.
Oh,
thank
lovely,
you.
Lovely.
Yeah. So you can
ourselves.
actually send your love notes to the facilitators to say thank you to her for the fantastic session.
Oh, this is so touching. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I equally learned quite a lot. And there was a question saying, somebody said she's a perfectionist. I just want to recap what Busola had said while she was facilitating the session. Go for it. Do it regardless. It doesn't have to be all perfect, but just ensure that you put in your best and you do that which you have to do. If you are waiting for it to be perfect, trust me, you won't get anything done. You will just be hanging and you'll be able to post content. You won't be able to reach your customers, and your business will just be lying there and nobody will know you. You will have little or no visibility. So do it regardless. Thank you very much, Busola. It was a very informative session.
Someone said my Instagram account. It's Busola, just the way my name is, Busola Dakolo.
So just the way her name is, Busola Dakolo, on Instagram. You can follow her on Instagram. All right, thank you. Thank you
very much. And I look forward to you, just go out and explode, enjoy yourself, have fun while doing it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Busola. Much appreciated. So we have 2 minutes to the end of the call. Before we end this call, I would just like to recap some few announcements for our benefit. Please note that immediately after this call, the WhatsApp group will be open for networking. So you should just head straight to the WhatsApp group to share your key takeaways from today's session and also learn from one another, and probably just post your previous content of what you have about your business so that people can learn from you. If you have a reel that you have used in your business to market your business before now, you can post it on the WhatsApp group for people to see what you have done and can also learn from you, or probably pick nitpicks from what you have done and implement in their businesses. So we are going to open the WhatsApp group for learning and networking. Please note, today we just had the 12th session and we have 4 more to go, meaning that we are counting down to the end of our workshops, and we are also counting down to our exams. So please note that our exam is going to be held next week, Thursday. So we are 1 week away from exams. So start preparing, start reviewing your notes, start looking through recordings. I can assure you that we'll do well to upload backlogs so that you can have access to these recordings and you can prepare adequately for the exams. So please, let's note this. We also discovered that we had quite a low turnout in filling out the midline survey form. Please, we'll post again today. Please ensure that you fill the midline survey form. If you do not tell us what we need to do better, there is no how we can improve on the sessions and also help you as individuals also do better. So please, if you are yet to fill in your comments or information in the midline survey, please ensure that you do that. And if you have not had access to Moodle yet, please send an email to Fashionomics helpdesk@cchub.africa. Send an email to Fashionomics helpdesk@cchub.africa if you are yet to access Moodle. Then if you are not on the WhatsApp group yet, please kindly indicate in the chat box here, and we would post the link for you to join the WhatsApp group. My colleague Wanjiku will post the link to join the WhatsApp group for as many that are not on the WhatsApp group. It's very important that you're on the WhatsApp group so that you can be abreast of information and activities about this program, so that you can be at par with your colleagues and you will not be left out of any information whatsoever. Lastly, before we end it, if you have not named your device appropriately, please note that we will be marking you absent. We have emphasized this from day 1 of this training, and I'm not sure would want to continue to emphasize this. So please ensure that you check your devices to be sure that you are named appropriately before the end of this session, so that you will not be marked absent. And if you would like to make inquiries about your attendance, please do so that we can reach out to you. Thank you very much. If there's any other information that we need to pass across to you, we'll send to you in the chat. It will send to you on the WhatsApp group. Please note, we still have another session tomorrow, same time, 2 p.m. WAT, 3 p.m. CAT, SAST, and 4 p.m. EAT, and 1 p.m. GMT. Thank you very much, everyone, and do have an amazing day. We'll catch up in the WhatsApp group and see you tomorrow.